Today's going to be a little bit different. I have a bass here that needs. This is my bass. I have a bass here that needs cleaning and new strings. So we're going to do that while we talk a bit. And I realized I never explained what this channel was about. So maybe we can get to that today. So I'm Samuel, and I wanted to make videos about the kinds of things I was trying to make progress in and what I was doing to make that progress. And I thought maybe that would be like entertaining to watch for other people. Maybe it would be encouraging at all to see somebody, struggling with things and actually trying to get better at stuff. If you've seen any of my other videos, you've seen me be terrible at skateboarding. You're gonna see me struggle to learn things with this, which I found to be really helpful, especially during quarantine since we're supposed to be home all the time. You see me be fairly bad at Japanese, where I've actually been working on that for about 3 years, but I've only recently been really focusing on trying to actually speak, which is why I sound like I have no idea what I'm talking about. But we're working on it. So I'm going to get better, and maybe you're gonna watch along with me and feel like you can do that too. Because I don't think I'm especially smart or anything. I just I like to do stuff, and I try not to get super discouraged if it doesn't go very quickly. Because a lot of it is very slow. Like, I've been skateboarding now for 10 years. And if you've seen any of my videos, you know I am clearly not very amazing on a skateboard. I've never kickflipped in my life. I only recently learned how to do only 180s, which we'll talk about in a little bit. I'm not very great, but it's fun. And even when you're bad at it, it's fun. But I'm gonna get better, and you'll get to see that. So that's what the channel's about. Hopefully you're into that. I assume you are if you're watching this and you haven't already closed it. So thanks if you haven't. This last week was sort of special because I had some client work I was working on, but that finished up the week before last. So I wanted to start my in-between time extra strong this time. So I said, I've got 5 days to work in the week and no client work to do, so I'm going to do something a little extra special this time. So for each of the 5 days, I wrote 5 blog posts and made 5 special dinners. You might not think this, but as an unmarried man, I actually cook pretty well. I do most of the cooking around here, especially now, because going to restaurants isn't really a thing. So other than sometimes ordering a pizza or something, I cook all the food. And I cook pretty well, but generally you get in the habit of cooking things that only take like 20 or 30 minutes to cook because you finished work and now you want dinner. But I've got time now, so I tried some new stuff. Oh yeah, the chicken soup. Yes. Chicken soup and cornbread. So Monday I made pizza. Tuesday I made a chicken soup with cornbread. Wednesday I stuffed some cheese and spinach into some chicken breast and made some sweet potato to go with that. Thursday I made jollof rice, which worked pretty well. And yesterday I made pork chops with braised red cabbage. At first my plan was to make things that were going to take a lot of extra time, and the pizza certainly took a lot of extra time to make. But some of those things were actually not that time intensive. They were just things that I hadn't tried to make before. So now I've made them, and they turned out pretty well, so I'll probably make them some more. Especially I could cut these and this would be easier, but I thought this would be easier to clean up after, but now I gotta thread it through this bridge. So I also made 5 blog post where I wrote about things you can do in iOS and Mac apps just to support right-to-left languages like Arabic and Hebrew. My blog is for my company, so it's mostly tech things I write. So I wrote about right-to-left support. I wrote about some more obscure APIs that maybe a lot of developers have probably not heard of that they exist. I wrote about how great it would be if I could find a client who would let me live stream some of the actual work that we're doing. It'd be nice if I could find a client that would let me, and then we could show that on the channel as well. I knocked over my book. Also this week it managed to dry up just a little bit, enough to let us skate, mostly on flat ground because flat ground dries faster than bowls and things, which is good for me because my flat ground is really terrible because I mostly try to skate the bowl all the time. So I last weekend got my first moving frontside 180, but moving backwards because that's a little easier if you're going backwards and you turn to forwards. But this week I got my first one where I'm going forwards and then go backwards. And it's a little sloppy, you can see it here, but it counts. I also tried working on backsides to turning the other way, which is much scarier, I think. And I managed to do one where it's more like a 120 than a 180, but that counts for something. I also landed some fakie ollies where technically I learned how to do that before. That's where you go backwards and, pop the board. I technically learned to do that a while before, but I haven't landed one in 6 months or something because the day I learned it, I did it, and then I couldn't do it again after that. But I got some of those again. And, generally worked on flat groundy things because that's what we had dry to be able to skate on. Alright, so now that we got the strings off, I have my handy dandy guitar polishing cleaner. So we'll clean off the base here. So I have lots of other videos planned about, learning to do things and getting help from people. Like you've seen me get help from Anna, who is much more fluent in Japanese than I am. I've got some various other people lined up that we're going to work with to try to make some interesting videos because, if you're trying to make progress on something, it doesn't just happen by yourself, right? Sometimes you need help from people. I would also like to know, what are you all working on? I know not all of you are like working at home with a very flexible schedule like me, and some of you watching have children and things, so there's only so much you can do. And I get that, but I'm pretty sure you're working on something, even if it's some video game or you're reading books, or I don't know what you're doing, but you're probably working on something. And I would like to know what that stuff is, because maybe that's interesting. Maybe in the process of learning that, you picked up some interesting tips that might be useful to share with everybody else, right? Let me know in the comments. I want to hear or read about what you're working on. If you've got your own videos, that's cool. Link those, and I'll have a look. Otherwise, you can just tell me about it. If you got a blog, link to that. I want to see that too. Sometimes it's a lot easier to do stuff if you know that the people around you are working on stuff as well, and you're not the only person who's trying. So maybe it's good if we just all share what we're working on with each other. This is the first bass that I've had, I think ever, with a maple fretboard instead of a rosewood fretboard. It's nice for cleaning because I don't have to also do the fretboard polish stuff. Like, you pretty much just clean it off and it's good to go. It's convenient for that. Well, This is all cleaned up now. We're gonna let it chill out a minute before I put the new strings on. And yeah, I guess that was all I had to talk about. So thanks for watching and listening, and uh, you know, like and subscribe or whatever. And but definitely leave a comment about what you're working on because I do want to hear about that. Otherwise, enjoy your week.